new year. Am I late? I might be a little fashionably late, you know, is that fashionably, whatever, late, maybe not. You know, there's people who leave their Christmas trees up until February, so, you know, cut me some slack. So yeah, 2024, here we go. This is the year that the 1975 movie A Boy and His Dog is set in. So apparently we're supposed to be living in an apocalyptic wasteland where there are telepathic dogs running loose and women are at a premium. The movie is about a boy, young Don Johnson, and his telepathic dog who apparently can sniff out women because women are at a premium at this particular time. So anyways, they find a woman, she takes them to some kind of like underground town. This basically looks like it's based on, I don't know, 1955 Iowa, Kansas, Nebraska, you know, name your Midwestern state there. Well, you know, hilarity ensues, and there's a bunch of twists and stuff at the end. Probably the reason this has not been remade is because the subject matter is a little touchy. I mean, back in 1975, cannibalism and forced sex, all fun and games, but now, maybe not so much. But yeah, this is probably, well, this is definitely one of my top 50 movies of all time. I've seen it several times. Haven't seen it for a while though, but yeah, I recommend it. It is 1975, so you gotta just make sure that you know, keep that in mind. So yeah, A Boy and His Dog, 2024. Speaking of films, staying on that kind of the same thing. There's this new movie out right now called Night Swim. Now I'm not big into the horror genre, you know, so maybe I'm not the best person to know this or talk about this, but usually when you see a trailer for a movie, especially a horror movie, they throw a couple things at you, or you're like, whoa, oh, especially, you know, it's a little unsettling when you're, you know, at nighttime you're watching, you know, reruns of Gilligan's Island, and all of a sudden this commercial for a horror movie comes on. It's like, hey, I didn't sign up for this. But this one in particular is like, has none of that. It's like the trailer is like, you're going, oh, hey, what? That's it? That's the scary part? That's it? Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know how all those horror movie fans out there feel about this movie, but you know, yeah, don't send me anything. I don't care. But yeah, this is, to me, it's got to be one of the. It's either one of the worst horror movies in the history of horror movies, or it's a really bad job by the PR department on selling this. So yeah, Night Swim. Go see it. Alright, so on to the good stuff. In college football, been a crazy week in football in general, but college football, we crowned a new national champion, the Michigan Wolverines. I've always kind of liked Michigan, you know, as, you know, outside the Pac, you know, 10, Pac-12 kind of guy that I am. But yeah, so I'm not going to get into the whole asterisk thing about, oh well, they cheated, and you know, Jim Harbaugh, he bought some hamburgers for somebody, and he didn't know there was a rogue agent in his, you know, among his people, his peeps. Because, you know, come on, nobody is going to care 10, 15, 20 years down the line about some hamburgers and some dude. Much the way that nobody ever really discusses Texas's win over USC in the championship game, when the previous play to when Vince Young scored a touchdown, his knee was clearly down on the ground, and he should have been, so that play should have never been ran. But, you know, Nobody talks about that anymore. Nobody talks about, hey, well, what about Vince's knee? They just like rolling the clips of him scoring. So, yeah, there's that. One thing that was kind of interesting to me about the whole thing was that Jim Harbaugh dodging the Gatorade. I mean, like, I'm like, if that's me, and I just won the first national championship for my college in, like, since 1997 or something like that, I'm like, I want 2 buckets. I want 2 buckets. One on each side. Just everybody, and of course, lift me on your shoulders, and then pour the buckets on me. That would be awesome. But yeah, running away from the Gatorade, it's like, why would you do that? It's like, this is the most seminal moment in your whole freaking life. Well, maybe not your whole life, but college-wise, yeah, there you go. But yeah. Also in college football, Nick Saban retired. That's kind of interesting. I don't know if you really saw it coming or not. I know that he had said a lot of things about the new NIL stuff going on, and he wasn't happy with it at all. So I don't know. It was kind of weird because up until he retired, he had actually been talking to his assistants on what they were going to do for the next season or something, and then also he's like, well, you know what? Screw this. Screw this shit. I'm out of here. You guys deal with it. So that was kind of interesting that he just like, you know what, I'm done with it, I'm out of here. With another interesting thing about all that is that his good buddy, the next day, Bill Belichick is like, I'm no longer going to be coaching the New England Patriots. That was kind of weird because we all kind of knew it was coming. I mean, it was kind of like, it was coming. We knew that we just didn't know how it was gonna, how it was gonna manifest itself. Well, okay, is he gonna get fired? Is he gonna get traded? That's a stupid thing. Is he gonna they're gonna just go, hey, you know what? Apparently, there's no compensation. They're just kind of like basically saying, it's a wash. It's a wash. We're out. You can move on. We're gonna move on. Love you, Bill. See ya. That was kind of interesting. Those two people, coaches who are actually really good friends, and coached together for a while. All of a sudden at the same time, it was like, we're leaving. And obviously, there's a lot of talk about the GOAT talk. Greatest of all time. Bill Belichick's the greatest coach of all time in the NFL. Nick Saban's the greatest coach of all time in the collegiate football scene. I always have a problem with the moniker greatest. The reason being is because in sports, in particular, sports evolve. They move on. They evolve. They become different. They change. The rules change. The players, get faster and stronger, more conditioning. Somebody playing. There's more teams now. So. It's kind of like to say somebody's the greatest of all time is like, I'm like kind of like, well, you're the greatest of your time. Is that what would that be? A greatest of your? Is that a goit? That'd be a goit. You're a goit. You're greatest of your time because you can't tell me. Bill Belichick definitely has won the most Super Bowls in the Super Bowl era, but Bill Walsh, who to me is the greatest coach of all time. All these guys that are doing all these schemes and everything, Bill Walsh, the guy that started it. And how many Super Bowls would Bill Walsh have won if he had to quit? If he would have stayed around, him and Joe Montana would have stayed around for another 4 years, 2 more Super Bowls, easy. So to say somebody's the greatest of all time, it's like, you know what? You are the most accomplished, you are the best of your era. But greatest of all time, I don't buy that. Same with Nick Saban. Yeah, he's got 6 championships. Great coach. But he's the greatest of his era. I mean, I get it. He actually has 7 championships because he won 1 with LSU. I mean, that's a different time. There was this guy named Paul Bear Bryant back in the 60s that coached at Alabama before Nick Saban did. And he won, I think, 5? Is it 5 championships? NCAA champ. But here's the thing about him. He couldn't recruit black players for like the first, I don't know, like 7 years he was there. He couldn't recruit black players until like the 1969-70 season, I think it was, when all of a sudden, all the presidents of the universities finally said, oh, fine, or the southern universities. So how many would he have won if he would have been able to recruit the black players back in like 1962, which he couldn't do? So, like I said, it all comes down to the era, the time you're in, because it all changes. Rules change. What am I getting here? Things change. Things change from year to decade to decade to decade. So to say somebody's the greatest of all time, sorry, I just, it should be greatest of your time. Great. Great. So speaking of the NFL, got a big weekend coming up. A lot of interesting matchups. The first weekend, the wild card weekend, is always kind of interesting because anybody can lose, anybody can win. All of a sudden, somebody's like, "Oh, wait a second," because especially with these teams that are like the 5th and 6th seed or whatever, they're going against each other or whatever it is. So there's a lot of intriguing things to see what happens this weekend. The most intriguing matchup to me is the Lions-Rams game. Lions-Rams. Because basically it's an episode of Wife Swap. Because you got, oh, hey, we'll take your quarterback and we'll give you our quarterback. So we're just going to swap quarterbacks and see what happens. And obviously so far, Matthew Stafford has come up on top. He's won a Super Bowl. But yeah, that's going to be a really interesting game to watch and see who wins that one. Because, I mean, you got 2 guys. You got one guy who was spurned, the other guy was brought in, and now they're all like from his old team, and now they're going to play each other in this guy Stafford's old stadium. So that's the most intriguing matchup that I can see so far this week. Speaking of which, Stafford, somebody the other day said, oh, well, Stafford on his Hall of Fame his way to Hall of Fame. And I'm like, what? Matthew Stafford is a Hall of Famer? Okay, and why is that? Because he won a Super Bowl and he has some really good statistics. I'm not even going to get in statistics. I've already done this plenty of times before. But if he gets in, why isn't Jim Plunkett in the Hall of Fame? Because Jim Plunkett has 2 Super Bowls and a Super Bowl MVP. So why? I don't understand that whole thing. Maybe it'll become one of those things where, Stafford will be there. Maybe he's not going to be a first ballot. But maybe, I don't know, 2-3 years down the line, maybe the Hall of Fame of nominee class is weak. So it's like, well, we got to let somebody in. So, Matthew Stafford, come on down. The price is right. Yeah. So, yeah, but Hall of Fame, I don't know about that one. Like I said, if he gets in, then Jim Plunkett should be right behind him. Right behind him. Alright, so other news, other sports, NBA stuff going on. I think the big news was that Draymond Green is coming back. He's been unsuspended. A lot of people are thinking that, well, that was pretty fast. I mean, you know, it was like, what, 13, 14 games or whatever, so, you know, a lot of people were like, you know, asking, you know, saying that, oh, 25 minimum, 25 minimum, you know, and maybe the whole season. But apparently he and Adam Silver had a talk where Adam Silver talked him out of retirement because Draymond Green said, "Oh, well, I can't. This is too much for me. Too much for me. I can't handle." It's like, well, dude, you kind of brought it on yourself. So, and the fact that you're going back after 13 games is like, that's, dude. Thank you, lucky stars. But to say that he was going to retire after all of this, I don't know, man. Is that... I'm not sure about... I know that Draymond Green is apparently like the shirt off his back kind of guy. That's what I've been told. That's what I've heard. But that just seems kind of like, wow. He was kind of like just looking out for himself, and he was kind of like character flaw, maybe? I don't know. I don't know him personally. All I'm saying is that people say that he's like, you know, he's going to be your best friend and your worst enemy. And but it's just the fact that he was going to retire because, I mean, okay, maybe he was caught up in the whole act, but he's back. He's coming back. And boy, I tell you, I don't know. The Warriors need something going on because they are sucking. So maybe that'll be a whole shot in the arm. Maybe it was a good thing that maybe the younger Warrior players were able to, like, you know, come along and learn some skills because he wasn't around. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, that's kind of a, you know, we'll see what happens with that. Draymond Green. Speaking of Draymond Green, I watch so many games these days where the commentator, and it's usually an ex-coach, you know, and then they'll be running some stuff, and the term I hear a lot is, "Oh, that's clearly a foul. Clearly a foul." Now, I've never been a coach. My highest playing sports was high school sports, but I watch a lot of sports. And I have a DVR, and so I can rewind as much as I want to. So I can see plays over and you get where I'm going. So when a coach says it's clearly a foul, I'm like, wait a second. The same thing happened over here that happened over here, but this was a foul. But that wasn't a foul. Can you please explain to me what that is? Well, he had his hand built in his feet. It's like, but the other guy did the same thing. So where is it? So when you say it's clearly a foul, unless it's Draymond Green punching you out, don't say it's clearly a foul when it's not clearly a foul. Because, I mean, I watch a lot of sports. I got a DVR. I've seen these things. And it's like, I can't tell anymore. Mostly in basketball, but also in football. It's like, wait a second, how was that, you know? And even in, well, don't even get me started on soccer. It's just, I don't even know where that's going sometimes. But yeah, so don't say it's clearly a foul when it's not clearly a foul. If the referees have to go to the monitor and look at it, then it wasn't clearly a foul to them. So don't say that, and just stop it. Stop it. Which brings to a point, and once again we're flip-flopping here because I'm going to go to football instead of basketball. But there's been a lot of talk lately about full-time refs. We need full-time refs so we can cut down on the bad calls. It happens every year. Every year there's bad calls, we know that. Even the league knows that. So I've always advocated for full-time refs because, you know, they go and they go to seminars and they go to training and they watch film and maybe they go to those corporate retreats where they do the trust fall and the zip line thing and they build a bonfire and dance around in their underwear. I don't know, whatever they do. But yeah, full-time refs so that we can cut down on these bad calls. But then, I heard somebody say this the other day, the NFL don't care. The NFL don't care about bad calls. They're like, hey, you know what? Why spend money when we don't have to? Because you talk about it. You all out there, you talk about bad calls. You know, around the water cooler. Is that still a thing, the water cooler? Then around the water cooler, you know, oh yeah, hey, did you see that bag? Oh yeah. And not only that, but, you know, the NFL revenue is... Those are my sound effects. Maybe I'll dub those in later. But, I mean, NFL ain't losing no freaking money. They're gaining money. I mean, there's going to be teams in Europe pretty soon here. I mean, I'm talking like 3-4 years. I mean, they're already putting games over there anyways, checking it out. And from what I understand, football is massive in England, and Germany is like right behind them. So, I mean, we won't go into the whole logistics of teams flying back and forth across the pond. You know, is there going to be another division in each conference where it's like, you know, all European teams and they fly back and forth? I mean, we've already got teams in the NFL flying over there and doing games, so why not? So, but that's all down the road. They'll figure that all out, but it's coming. It's coming. So that's even more money now. So, you know, NFL don't care about full-time refs. It's like, yeah, you'll talk about it and everybody will like bemoan it and like that. It's like, hey, there you go. All right, time for some shorts. Domino's free pizza. I'm pretty sure that free pizza ain't gonna feed the whole backyard barbecue thing that you had going on there. Just saying. I'm pretty sure it's illegal to have a Wolverine shipped to your house, even if it is the Heisman house. And why would you do that? And why would somebody go and try to open the box? I don't get that one. And just as a side note there, you know, Charles Woodson, Michigan does have a mascot. It's called the Wolverine. And there's all kinds of teams across the country that have animals as their mascots, but they don't have a real animal. It's a guy in a suit. Okay, so you can do that. You think the Florida Gators? Yeah, right? Speaking of Heisman House, in light of the going back to the whole NIL thing and the hamburgers and whatnot, I wonder if Reggie Bush is going to get his Heisman Trophy back. I mean, it's okay to cheat now, right? It's okay to buy hamburgers now. It's okay to like ask for millions of dollars and get paid, you know, out of high school. I mean, there are high school kids that are millionaires now because some booster from some college is going, hey, I'm going to give you this money if you come to my school and play for us. So, I mean, come on, Reggie, give him his Heisman back. Say, you know what, we were stupid, here you go. It'd be like, kind of like the marijuana thing. You know, it's like, oh, all these guys that were in prison for having like an ounce of marijuana on them, and they're like 20 years in prison, and now they're all getting pardoned. It's like, you know, it'll be like that. Pardon Reggie Bush. I'll hold a sign, pardon Reggie Bush. Last one, the Geico Caveman's back. The Geico caveman is back. Where's Toast? Toast. The Geico caveman is back. That's freaking awesome. That's awesome. There's been a dearth of celebrity commentary for games. It started with Peyton and Eli, you know, gotta have their, you know, simulcast or whatever you want to call it during games, and then it's kind of spread out to like I saw this Pat McAfee guy all of a sudden is doing something with his guys, and Stephen A. Smith is doing basketball commentary. I tell you, man, that's one guy. I mute whenever he's on, because this is like his voice is like nails on a chalkboard to me. I mean, I know he was a really good writer, but people seem to love the guy. I don't know, whatever. I mean, he's just like he's like the, well, not the Godfather, but he's like the Domo, whatever, something like that. Anyways, not Domo Arigato. But yeah, and then now you've got people who, well, not sports people, making comment. Kevin Hart. Man, if I had to listen to Kevin Hart talk for 2 hours, yeah, that would be like a Clockwork Orange to me. Just put me in a chair and prop my ears open. I don't even gotta have my eyes open, and just play Kevin Hart for like, and I'd be like, that'd be me. So I mean, I mean, who's Jimmy Johnson, the football coach, doesn't like when anybody talks to him during a game, and I can see that 100%, because I mean, if it's my crew and I'm at home and I'm sitting on the couch and we're drinking beers, watching game, and things happen, yeah, man, high five, you know, say a couple of words. Yeah, did you see that? Oh yeah, well, you should have been blah 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 blah. While the game's going, but to keep talking over the game constantly, it's like that commercial where that little girl's all like, "Mom, you said you don't want to go there because they never stop talking." It's like, that's it. You know, I don't want somebody to never stop talking. Shut the F up. I'm watching the game, okay? Especially if you're not my crew. I don't want to listen to you. I mean, if you're somebody that I know and we've been around a while and we both have the same kind of take on sports, whatever, that's one thing. But if you're somebody I don't know, it's like, oh, kind of sitting there, it's like, I don't care what celebrity you are. I don't want to hear you talk. Especially Kevin Hart and Stephen A. Smith. So, I don't know what the ratings are on those things these days. I haven't really seen too much of the Stephen A. Smith stuff going on. I believe this is the first Kevin Hart thing going on, or went on. So yeah, I don't know. I don't get it. Anyways, I found out the other day that the sign language for "I love you" is something like this, like that. But the problem is I can't put those two fingers down without this one going down. So I can do love. So apparently L is love, and then I is I love you. So that's why the I. So I guess if I just go love, or I can go, can I do this? I love you. Would that make? But anyway, so apparently I have a deaf girlfriend. I can't tell her I love her. So that would suck. But anyways, so that's it. Once again, Jim Plunkett, Hall of Fame. Go to the website. Go to hashtag. I'm not really sure where to go. I'll be looking at that, because Jim Plunkett should be in the Hall of Fame. Peace out.
One.